and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. But this is nothing to do with books at all. What's it to do with, David? Now this is a story all about how David and I got married and made vows.
Nice.
I didn't even plan that. That just came out.
Very, very good.
A very talented musician. So, David and I got married in December 2022, and I've been meaning to make a video to talk about it. And I've been sort of thinking, oh, well, I want this video to be perfect like our wedding was. I want everything to flow. But I think what basically we're going to do is we're going to have a chat.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to I'll insert like photos and stuff as it goes. So at no point will I say, oh, here's a photo of this. Like, I think the photos will just flow.
I mean, sporadically. As
the chat happens. What do you think? Do you think that's a good idea?
I think that sounds lovely.
I think it sounds lovely. Just like our bond.
Wedding.
So we're going to, there's four sort of, and you're not allowed to look at this because you get obsessed with the details of what's going on. Yes, you're just here to talk.
All right, I can do that.
So we're going to do this in 4 parts. We're going to talk 4 parts. We're going to talk firstly about our engagement. These are just the brief parts. Our engagement, and then a little bit about the planning, and then we're going to talk about the 2 wedding celebrations
the big
that
days.
we had. So we got engaged in 2020. Mm-hmm. It was COVID. It was the second. It was the second lockdown.
Oh, second lockdown. I thought you were going to say the 2nd of November.
Oh, I don't know what date it was in November.
I think it's the 3rd. I think it was the 3rd.
It was in November 2020. I'd been thinking for a while I'd like to ask David to marry me, but I hadn't got any, but I hadn't thought of a time, and I thought maybe I'll do it if we go to Disneyland or something like that. And I'd had this key ring for a while that said, will you marry me? And I'd planned to do it with that key ring. And I'd had it from earlier that year, because originally I thought, oh, maybe we'll go to Disneyland for your birthday and we'll do it there. And then COVID happened and all of this happened, and I thought, I'm going to ask David to marry me at Christmas. Now, the second lockdown got kicked off
like 3 days afterwards.
Yeah, so we decided we were going to put Christmas up early that year. So we put it up in November, very early in November, like I said, like the 3rd. And I thought, well, that'll be the perfect day to propose to him, because it'll be a lovely Christmassy day. We'll be putting up Christmas, and then I'll propose to him. And I booked a table at a restaurant called The Pig at Bridge Place in Canterbury for the day after. So I thought we could go for a little celebration. Well, the weekend, I hadn't told anyone, I hadn't mentioned it to anyone that I was going to do it. And then the weekend before, we were at Tom and Laura's having dinner, and it got announced that we were watching Strictly, I think, and it got announced that we were going into a second lockdown. And we were like, and I was like, oh God, I wonder if they're going to cancel the restaurant booking. And it was booked for a Wednesday, but they didn't start the lockdown, weirdly, until the Thursday. So we got to go out for dinner on the Wednesday after we got engaged. So yeah, anyway, we put all the tree up, and that was lovely. And when we do Christmas, although I say it's lovely and Christmassy, it's very much a sort of like hard work day of being apart, isn't it? David sort of like runs back and forward to the storage, and I'm sort of like doing the
I do remember you saying like, can we like do it all together this year?
So on the Monday I'd said, let's go to the storage, let's get everything, and let's just spend the day together on Tuesday putting it all up, because I thought it would be nice to be together and do all the Christmas. And then we'd put Christmas up, and I put the tree up and everything, and I said, oh, David, come and pose in front of the tree for me. And I got down on one knee and asked him to marry me. Now, I had that footage. I think I deleted it.
Did you?
Yeah, so I don't know where that is, but I did have footage of, I never watched it, but I did have the footage of me asking you to marry me. Anyway, he said yes, and were you surprised?
I was very surprised.
Care to elaborate?
Yeah, no, well, because as I've said before, like, we've kind of spoken about marriage in the past, and you've never shown that much, like, not enthusiasm for it, but you were like, yeah, I'd like to get married one day. And I was thinking, oh, okay, like, we will do it. But I was thinking, like, oh, I'd ask you to marry me on, like, maybe like your 40th, or if we'd done a big holiday. So it really took me by surprise.
You weren't expecting it?
Because I wasn't expecting it. So it was lovely.
News. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was very happy that you done it, obviously.
So then we got engaged, which was lovely. And then after sort of like a period of being engaged, we thought, well, we better start planning this wedding now. We got engaged at Christmas because we love Christmas. And the wedding was always going to be at Christmas.
Oh yeah, that was already.
There was no other time. We're not big hot weather people. In fact, I would go as far as to say we hate hot weather. And we were always going to get married at Christmas. So we thought, we don't really want to set it for Christmas 2021 because who knows what's happening with COVID then. There's people leaving school, so it's all very loud and excitable outside.
Kids very happy.
And we also needed a bit of time to save up some money to put towards the wedding. So we thought we'd sort of pinpointed 2022 as the very Christmas 2022 as the earliest we would get married. Thinking maybe if it goes into 2023, then so be it. And after we thought of I guess we sat on that date for about 6 months, would you say? And then maybe when did we start booking stuff?
Probably not until like November 21.
Yeah.
I think
so in
really,
November 21 we thought if we are going to get married next year we need to pull our finger out.
I don't know how long we would have left it if it would have been for my mum.
No, so David's mum was very good. She was very good. She steered the ship the whole way through.
She definitely did.
So like she was sort of like, you really should think about doing this. You really should think about doing that. And like we couldn't have done it. We wouldn't have got anything done.
I don't know what I'd be. I wish I could see an alternative reality
where we were like,
where we didn't have my mum get involved as much.
So we decided. So in order to sort of like, because we both knew we didn't want the sort of like traditional, I mean what is a traditional wedding nowadays, I guess, David, because there's so many different weddings, but like the traditional sit down and have a 3-course meal, get married in a church or do the whole thing at one place, like a sort of big marriage package type thing. And we decided, we knew we didn't want a big wedding. So we made a list, didn't we, of all the sort of traditional wedding things. Yeah, like what we wanted. And we tiered them, which I found very helpful. So if you are in the early stages of planning a wedding, think about the things that sort of like traditionally, or things that you've seen at weddings before, and put them in a tier. So we had sort of like, can't live without, don't mind, definitely don't want. And anything that was in the definitely don't want pile, we scrapped. Anything that was in the don't mind pile, if it didn't occur in the other person's definitely do want, we scrapped that as well. So it's things like bridesmaids, I definitely didn't want a bridesmaid. Best man, you were sort of like... Yeah,
I was very unbothered by it.
So we didn't have that. First dance, I decided I wanted the first dance. More on that later. Speeches, cake, you really wanted a cake. Yeah. We both said no to a sit-down meal. And we'd sort of like... So like that was very helpful. Yeah, so it was very, very helpful to sort of do that. Once we decided what we did want, and as we said, we also knew we didn't want a wedding, we had to start thinking about dates. So we started thinking about when in Christmas we would want it. Now, the original plan for us, before we get moving on to what actually happened, was that we were going to have a big party on the run up to Christmas, like the weekend before Christmas, and hire out a hall and get a pizza van. We'd always been very keen to have a pizza van, hadn't we?
Yeah, I think that's probably the first thing we booked.
Just have like 150 people come along there. We thought that's the sort of numbers it would be, and celebrate. And then in the week we would get married, and we were calling that day
like
paperwork day.
Paperwork day.
And we would go to the registry office, and we weren't bothered about what registry office it was. We would go to the registry office with our very close families and get married. And then the actual celebration would be at the weekend, and then on the day of paperwork day we'd go back to David's parents' house afterwards for a few picky bits, because their place is always very Christmassy, and that's where Christmas is. So that's what we said that we would do. That was the initial idea, wasn't it? And as it goes, it pretty much, like, I mean, we still got, we kept the elements of that, didn't we? We still kept a very, very small wedding.
But it kind of almost traded places, didn't it? Whereas that the actual document day ended up being the bigger celebration than the party day, didn't it?
So if we now move on to the day, so our wedding day, as I said, we were planning on getting married at a registry office and going back, but David's mum quite rightly said, if we're having picky bits back at the house, like, because we were thinking it's Christmas, there'll be loads of stuff from Marks and Spencer's, we can just stick those in the oven. David's mum was quite rightly like, I don't really want to be shoveling stuff in and out of the oven on my son's wedding day.
That's what she'll,
and that's what she would end up doing. So she said, if we contribute financially to the day, which we wouldn't have been able to do the day without that financial contribution, because we'd had put money aside for the party, but we hadn't put money aside for the actual day. We'd like to get a caterer back at the house afterwards. So we were like, well, that would be lovely, and if you're happy to pay for that, which, because we can't afford it, we would love that. So we decided that there would be a caterer that day, and I think that was the sort of turning point of your mum and dad thinking, so we'd said to them, we'd love to hold it back at your house, but please don't resculpture the garden or knock any walls down and stuff like that. They love a project, David's parents. and they resculpted the garden and built a summer house and had a lawn laid, and on the day we had a marquee. So we had a marquee in the garden, a beautifully sort of like small marquee, as wide as their garden, a little bit longer, and that was the plan. So we got married at a registry office. I didn't have any bridesmaids. David didn't have a best man. We walked ourselves down. We arrived together. We drove ourselves there. We arrived together. We walked ourselves down the aisle together. It was a very small day. There were 17 of us. So it was our immediate families, plus my cousin Laura and her husband, and my best friend Emma and her boyfriend. And we had one reading at the ceremony, didn't we? We didn't have any hymns or anything. The ceremony went... You were very nervous, weren't you?
I wasn't nervous until about a minute before it started, and then
Was it before we started walking down?
Before we started walking down, and then I was like, I don't know why, like, I don't know, I cannot tell you why I was nervous. Obviously I wasn't nervous to marry you. I was very excited to marry you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, I suppose it was just like the combination of like everything. It's like, this is it now. This is like the beginning of
a union.
No, like I'm thinking like this is the beginning of what we've been planning for like 2 years.
Yeah, neither of us have ever planned anything this big before.
No, and maybe it just got me a little bit nervous and stuff. And like I was never close to tears at all, apart from the reading.
When Laura was doing
the reading, and I got a little bit.
So we had a reading from a Nigel Slater cookbook. The reading was entitled What Goes With What, but we'd sort of chopped and changed it around a bit and taken some bits out and put in some other stuff of our own stuff, so it was inspired by it. And she read that out. She did it amazingly, didn't she? I always knew she would.
Yeah.
And then we had it framed and at the ceremony. And we've got it framed somewhere. We need to get that out, don't we? It's got a Christmas border, so we need to...
No, I feel like we took it out. No, we took it out and we swapped frames.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, no, we can't do that.
Sorry.
I mean, I could always get it printed again.
Yeah. Maybe with a different border, because it would be nice to have it out.
Yeah.
So that was the ceremony, and then we went back to David's parents' place afterwards. Now, it absolutely chucked it down with snow
the night before.
We'd spent the whole weekend in the marquee setting up, and it was freezing.
Very cold.
And I think we were all being quite optimistic with, once you've got 17 people in this marquee, it will be fine. Once we've got the heater going, it will be fine. And it was freezing.
Yeah. So
in the evening, it was a bit warmer.
Yeah.
But
because we had
the heater that the marquee people had provided was just blowing cold air around. I thought there'd be more people would be in there the warmer it would be, and it just never seemed to warm up. So on reflection, if you're having a marquee in the winter, which I imagine a lot of people don't do, you need proper heaters. My dad went back and got 2 electric radiators, which did make a difference.
It did
but
help.
Our nans were freezing.
Yeah.
And like, because they weren't moving much either, because we were all sat down at the table, it didn't matter how many, and David's mum had literally thought of everything. She brought along, lots of blankets, and everyone had blankets and stuff like that, but it didn't matter how many blankets we were putting on the nans,
didn't matter.
because they were stationary and not moving. It was freezing.
Yeah.
And we knew it was freezing when we were setting up, and I just kept thinking, oh, it's gonna
I think we all was.
And it never did.
We all was. Yeah.
And then the night before, as we were driving home, it was really
it was bucketing it down.
Yeah, and I was thinking, are we all going to make it to the registry office? I was thinking, as long as we can make it to the registry office,
then we'll be fine.
We'll be fine, because we can't rearrange this. We've got to do it. So, but it was fine, and there was a little bit of snow in the bottom of all of our photos.
It was more us getting onto the main. Like, we knew as long as we could get onto a main road, we'd be fine. But obviously, because where we've got like some like lesser, like not main roads, they were a little bit more snowier, but it was fine. Like, luckily, it actually rained a little bit over the course of the night, so a majority of the snow went away. But some stayed, which was handy.
Yeah, some say which was handy.
It was handy.
Some say which was handy.
Yeah.
So, as I said, we had 17 people at the ceremony, and then come back for lunch afterwards, and then we upped that to 30 people in the evening. We, as in, not 30 people extra, as in more people came, and there was about 30 of us in the evening. So yeah, so if we start by talking about the food and the caterers, and then we can move sort of like through the day. So when David's mum had said that they wanted to get a caterer, we didn't really know where to start, and I remember putting something on Facebook saying, oh, does anyone know any caterers that are good for weddings and stuff? And we'd been to our friends Adam and Hazel. Adam will appear again later. Adam and Hazel's wedding. How long ago was that? 5 years ago?
5, 6 years ago,
Maybe
yeah.
more. and they'd had caterers at their wedding that I'd really enjoyed, and almost like stood out. Like, I don't mean this in a disrespectful to other weddings I've been to sort of thing, but like sometimes you forget certain aspects of the day, but I always really remembered the food from Adam and Hazel's.
I always say
in the evening they had like pies, loads and loads of little pies were being brought around. So there was loads of, and then like there was a hog roast in the day, wasn't there, with lots of like side dishes. I
actually remember where we was positioned at the venue. So we was like down by the bar, and it got to the point when they were bringing out the canapes.
They were having to like lift them up.
Was like, no, none of this is for you, because they wasn't getting to the other people because we kept on eating them.
So yeah, so we'd always remember them, and Hazel reminded us of them. She said, oh well, our caterers were very good. Yeah. And we contacted them, and I mean, from the off we knew they were the right people.
They were.
So we only ever saw
lovely.
one person because we went to their, so I had a few phone calls with Debbie. It was a company called Chives Catering, based in Ashford in South East England in Kent. So if you are in that area, we highly recommend them.
Yeah.
And in fact, if I ever had anything again, I would use them, because they were saying they do, like, touch wood, no one will have any funerals, but funerals, and they do all sorts of like lunches and stuff, and I would definitely use them again. They were amazing and so friendly and so kind and really listened to what we wanted. So we went there to their test kitchen in Ashford for a tasting session, and they did us a whole host of canapes. We were gonna have canapes, starter, like, so this is the lunch, so like after we've got back, because we had an 11 o'clock ceremony. So canapes, starters, lunch, dessert, and then in the evening, when the evening guests come, a hot buffet of some description. We'll get onto that later. And there was just not enough time. We just wouldn't have had enough time, so we didn't have a starter. We had canapes, and when we got there, we said that I was a vegetarian, and I wanted it to be that at the wedding, I would be able to eat everything. Because so often when you're a vegetarian, or you've got sort of dietary requirements, be it or whatever, celiac or you're pescatarian or anything, you have to often sort of like be like, oh, is there this in this, or is there this in this? And I just said to David, it would be my dream that I could just eat everything at the wedding and not even have to question it. So we'd already decided that the starters,
the canapes were all going to be
vegetarian. And they'd done us a massive big platter of canapes, didn't they? From like kimchi sausage rolls with a sriracha mayo and paneer, like tikka spice paneer. What else? Like little samosas, falafels,
like potato ball
fritters,
things.
It
was really
and like they'd done us about, I think there's about 14 there, and they'd said if you were having that as a starter, you'd probably need 8 per person. Well, on the day, they were absolutely amazing. And I think because I'd only had a slice of toast in the morning, so by the time that came round, and that was about 1 o'clock, they were amazing, and they just tasted so good, and everyone loved them. My dad, who is a massive meat eater, was like, they were all lovely. He ate most of them, didn't he?
Nan ate all of them.
Yeah, David's nan, who doesn't eat, well, she's just a nan of a certain age, and she just thinks she doesn't like a lot of stuff. She loved all of them. So it was really good. So the canapes as starters were really nice, and also it was really like informal, which is what we wanted. So when we got back to the marquee, it meant that people could just sort of like mill around or find their seat. We had a long table down the middle, and people could find their seat. We also had a record player, so we bought our record player and bought all of our Christmas vinyls and just popped it in there, and we just said to people, if you fancy putting on a Christmas vinyl, please do. So we'd said to my dad, when we get there, put on a Christmas vinyl, and that was really nice because people were up and changing vinyls and catching up and chatting and stuff like that. So the canapes worked really well for the starter. So when we went for our tasting session, we decided on the canapes, and then we were talking about the main meal, and the plan was that there'll be 2 options, 2 lunch options. I would pick one, which obviously was going to be vegetarian, and David would pick the other. Now David is well, you eat meat, but at home he eats vegetarian because I only cook vegetarian. So David's diet is majority vegetarian, but meat when you're out. So I always envisaged that he'd pick a meat option.
But like I had a look, and there was like, there was options of meat there, obviously, but I looked and none of them really grabbed me and excited me too much. But there was another vegetarian one called a herb pancake.
It was like, herb.
God, like
herb pancakes stuffed with.
Yeah, stuffed with like not aubergines, sorry.
Seasonal vegetables.
Stuffed with seasonal veg. So it had asparagus in,
which wasn't seasonal.
Had some spinach in. I don't know if spinach is seasonal, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Spinach all year.
But it was just lovely, and then like with a cheese sauce. And I was like, I want that. Like,
yeah, you love a pancake.
I love a pancake, and a herby pancake. It just sounds delicious. Like, like, I don't need to eat meat that day, and I would like to make it all vegetarian, like mainly for Lauren. I need to mainly for her, because yeah, like why don't don't have to eat meat. It's fine. It's our wedding day. It's what Lauren loves. So, and it's what you do. Yeah. You're a vegetarian.
So David picked the pancake option, the herby stuffed pancakes, and I picked a mushroom, because mushrooms are my favourite, and blue cheese tart, and both options were served with a fondant potato and veg, and it was delicious and it was amazing, and it was so nice to have someone bring you food and be treated, because like when you're the bride and groom, you get your food first, and it was all lovely and very exciting, and that was really, really nice. And then the desserts that we picked, and when we went to the trial, they'd done us like a whole platter of desserts. There was a pecan tart, maple and pecan tart, which was amazing. There was a profiterole, which David still says was the best thing he's ever eaten. There was like a little lemon posset, and because we knew we were getting and all sorts of different things, like there was some other like fruit tarts and poached pears and things like that. So when we were there chatting, and they were just so amenable to like all of our ideas, when we'd said that and when David had decided, and they said, oh, we're doing a vegan wedding this, I think it might even have been for her son actually.
Yeah, it was for her son,
wedding. So they were really on board with doing a vegetarian wedding. They were very, very excited. And then when we were talking about the desserts, I really liked the pecan and the maple and pecan tart. David really liked the profiteroles. I don't really like profiteroles. So they were like, well, why don't we do a trio of desserts? And then you can have what you want. So we had a profiterole, a little sliver of maple and pecan tart.
I mean, you say little. I think even the slice of pecan tart could have been its own dessert.
And the last thing was the lemon posset, which we both really enjoyed. But because it was Christmas, we wanted like to have a little nod to Christmas. So they made like a little mince pie lemon posset.
Yeah, like the bottom of it was like had mince meat in it,
and it was really so nice with a little crumble on top. It was really, really lovely. And the way they worked is that they came along to David's parents' kitchen. They set up in there while we were at the ceremony, and they cooked everything. And they'd done loads and loads of prep, and then they served us. It was amazing.
It was. It just felt so weird that we didn't even have to think about it.
Yeah, and the food was just coming.
Like normally, like if it was like a party that we was in like more of the food, I'd be more worried about, oh my god, like are people enjoying it?
Yeah.
Like, is it coming out on time? Is it coming out hot? But I just didn't care because I just had so much trust in these people, and I just knew they were going to make it. And you know, they're professionals. They know what they're doing. They were so lovely as well.
Debbie and Graham were their names.
Debbie and Graham, they were just brilliant. Like, like people would always be in there having a chat with them.
And every time I went in there as well, it was so chill in there.
Yeah.
They were just so chilled out, and there was no, it was lovely.
At times it was like, do you just live here? You just look so relaxed.
And they tidied up beautifully, and everything was amazing.
You wouldn't even know they would have been.
Yeah, so that was the lunch, and then we had
a lot of leftovers.
Yeah, there was lots of leftovers, which were really, really nice. And I had lots of delicious canapes the next day as well, which was better.
It was brilliant. Just like even when like Deborah was coming out to chat when they was bringing out food, she'd just have a little chat with you like she was your mate, and like you didn't feel like they were intruding. You just thought they were just joining in on the day, and it was lovely. They were so
really,
nice.
Really
yeah,
lovely.
Couldn't recommend them enough.
Couldn't. And as I said, if you are in the area, I will link that down below. So when we'd gone for our tasting as well, we'd been talking about what we were going to do in the evening, and when we'd got engaged, my sister had bought us as an engagement present a grazing board from a local company, very local to us. Of a breakfast platter. Do you remember?
Oh my god, yeah,
it was amazing.
That lasted us a couple of days.
And we had that, and it was so good. It was a vegan breakfast platter, so all vegan pastries and vegan sausages and vegan bacon, and it was really, really, really good. Vegan granola and yogurt and stuff like that, and it was really, really good. And we thought in the evening maybe we would get her to come and do a grazing table. Grazing tables are having a real moment at the moment, aren't they? And we thought that. And then when we went along to our caterers, they were talking about sort of like hot buffet options, and I was thinking, oh, that might be nice. It is cold. Yeah. So we decided on doing a burrito bar in the evening, which was amazing. Again, all vegetarian. So there was a vegetarian meatball option, and then there was a chili option, and then they did like a runny cheese sauce and coleslaw, and everyone had like a box. Also, they took all their mess away with them, and everything was recyclable, which we were really keen for. Yeah. So they bought, so we all had a box, and you'd go and put your burrito in, and then you'd serve up your stuff, and it was all warm and lovely. And the people who came in the evening, absolutely, well, everyone loved it. Yeah. The people who came in the evening were delighted with it.
Yeah, they were.
And my family is a big family of meat eaters. David's family, they eat some vegetarian stuff, but not. And a lot of my friends wouldn't really like. they eat vegetarian if I cook for them, but wouldn't opt to eat vegetarian. But we had, everyone thought everything was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so, so good. And as a vegetarian, as I said, to be able to eat absolutely everything on the day was amazing. So we cannot praise the caterers enough, and we loved them.
Yeah.
They were so, so good. So yeah, that was amazing. Drinks, so in terms of the drinks, we, my sister researched some Christmassy cocktails and mocktails. I don't drink alcohol, David does. And my sister did 2 Christmassy mocktails and 1 Christmas cocktail. And then we had, so the caterers had bought, when we'd gone to our tasting with the caterers, we'd had some Biddington, which is a local vineyard, apple juice, which was so good.
Oh.
We loved it so much, they bought some bottles of that on the day, so we were able to drink that. And then David's sisters were kind enough to get the drinks for the day.
Yeah.
So another sort of like financial thing that we would. Also, I always think, because I don't drink at all, and David drinks when he goes out, like, and has beers, I never really know how much people drink.
No, because I remember when we was discussing it with my family, I think we was going to get a couple of cases of beer, and you were like, yeah, that's enough, and I'm like, no, that's not going to be enough for who we know is coming. You're like, yes, it is going to be enough.
Yeah, I just don't really understand.
Yeah.
But anyway, on the day, so we bought a lot, because there are a lot of non-drinkers in
there was
my
a fair amount, wasn't there?
We actually ran out of non-alcoholic stuff,
Yeah.
which was unbelievable, because we got like a lot of stuff. And
I do
also, it was a
question-
Monday night,
Yeah,
so
that's
that
true.
might have been
Yeah.
why.
But I do wonder if people just were grabbing a bottle of beer and not really knowing if
there was lots of like
alcohol or
non-alcohol,
not.
yeah,
That's
and that
alright.
was really lovely. And like
Yeah.
my sister doing the sort of research into those cocktails and mocktails, that was really fun. We
Yeah.
had them framed, and you could make them up as you went.
That was cool. I enjoyed
that.
doing
Was really, really nice.
She made me a one, so we had like a winter Aperol spritz thing that she made me, which was nice. But I ended up putting in a bit. Well, I actually diluted it a lot, but I was happy by doing
very
that.
good.
And we had Dr Pepper.
Yes, David's main thing. So the actual the marquee itself, as I said, it took 3 days to set up. The marquee got put up on the Friday.
Yeah.
And we got married on the Monday. David's mum and dad had COVID the week before the wedding, and their last day of isolation, I mean, in the UK, you didn't have to isolate, but they did opt to isolate. And their last day of isolation was Saturday.
Yes, Saturday. Yeah.
So we had the first 2 days where we just did stuff by ourselves, me, David, and my mum and dad. My sister came along on the Saturday to help out. David's sister also was there. And it was, I mean, I wouldn't say hard work. I had a lovely time.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of setting up.
Yeah.
I think
a lot of planning.
We could have done it. If we'd have gone really hardcore on the Sunday, we could have done the whole thing. But it was nice to spread it out over the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So it got put up on the Friday. On the Friday night we arrived, and David and my dad along the top of the marquee put these little glass
almost like lantern type
that
things,
had tea lights in that you could light up, and they were all on different ribbon.
Yeah.
The whole theme of it was a sort of rainbow colourful theme, but not rainbow theme. So it's more of a sort of spectrum theme. So the table itself ran from red to orange to yellow to green to blue to purple to pink, and dependent on what section you were on, so my sister, my niece and my brother-in-law were at the top of the table, so they were in red, so they would have red ribbons on the candles hanging down in front of them, red ribbons on the backs of their chairs, red wine glass and a red tumbler, red candle sticks in front of them, and red candles, red napkins, and the little favours that I'd made, which were all cross-stitched nameplates with like a little Christmassy motif on there, on a little frame that David had painted, were all red. So, and then we went through to David's sisters, who were in the orange, the Nans were in the green. No, the Nans were in the yellow. My mum and dad were in the green. We were in the blue with your mum and dad, because there was a lot of blue stuff.
Purple.
Yeah, Laura and Tom purple, and Emma and Joe pink.
Yeah.
So it flowed really well. And in order to get that sort of stuff, we had been collecting glassware
for months,
basically since I'd decided that that's what I'd wanted to do. I'd seen one photo on Pinterest which wasn't even really like the photo that it ended up being, and I was just like, I've just got this vision of having like lots and lots of glassware all in different shades, and we were just very, very fortunate that we were able to get all of it, bar I think your mum bought 2 wine glasses second hand.
Yeah.
So we were scouting charity shops, boot fairs, asking people if they had glassware that they were getting rid of, and we just got everything together, and we had good fun doing it. I've had to sort of like train myself now. When I'm at a charity shop now, I'm like, don't have to go straight to like the knick-knack section and get lots of glassware. And we probably did the whole thing between me, you and my mum, between me, you, your mum and dad, and my mum. About 200 quid, do you reckon the whole lot cost?
Maybe not even that much. I don't know.
When we were going to boot fairs, we were getting absolute bargains. Like we were getting stuff for 50p.
I suppose, yeah, when you consider like all the jugs and stuff, yeah, maybe about 200.
We spent a day in Rochester at a lot of, there was charity shops and also antique shops, so we were getting things which were a bit more expensive. So I mean, I don't think anything cost more than sort of like a £5.
No,
I remember getting one jug, a really nice heavy purple jug that was a £5. And the joy of that is that we were able to say to people afterwards was like, if there's anything here that you want, please take it away as a sort of memory of the day. I got a candlestick in each colour, and we kept all of our sort of like fag ash colour stuff.
Yeah,
we
like
love that.
Yeah, it's a nice,
and some jugs and things like that.
Nice
and it just looked beautiful. I always knew it was going to look lovely, but didn't it just look amazing?
Man, it was incredible.
I was so pleased with it. It looked so effective.
You had such a great, like you could picture something, and it just looked magical.
Yeah, and we sort of carried on that theme with having things either side, and we had Christmas trees in there which were just decorated like with really loads of bright colours. Yeah. We had green tablecloths again that we'd got from charity, two of them from a charity shop.
We've got a white one and just dyed it.
Yeah, so that's more for the parties though, so we'll talk about that more at the party. Ignore that. And then we had gold bits of wood that David's mum had painted gold that ran down the table, which all the candlesticks were on. And then we had gold charger plates, which I'd borrowed from my mum, your mum, and my auntie, and one of David's mum's neighbours. So yeah, everything was either borrowed or like there was very little new stuff used on the day, which we were very keen to do.
Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue.
Yeah, we were sat in the blue section.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were very, very pleased with how it looked, and it really did look amazing. Like we couldn't have wished for any more. What did you wear on the day, David?
I wore a beautiful green, almost like a Christmas tree green.
Yes, it was
suit.
lovely.
A three-piece suit from Big Boys United, Giacomo.com.
So David is we're both of the larger persuasion, and it is hard to find trendy clothes, particularly for big men. I think it's getting a bit better for women now.
Yeah,
but for men,
it's still quite bad. It's still very like traditional, like M&S type stuff. And initially, I wasn't going to wear a suit. I was going to wear just like a nice pair of chinos, and I wanted to find a blazer the same colour as Lauren's dress. And
which was pink. We'll move on to that shortly.
Which was pink, but I just couldn't find one apart from one that looked like a fancy dress pink blazer. I just couldn't find one in my size. There are a couple out there, so we left it quite late to find what I wanted to wear. We was probably about mid-November to late November, and we still hadn't found anything. And I was starting to get a little bit panicky, and I was thinking, well, I'll probably just have to go and buy a suit that, just like a standard wedding suit, and that will just have to do. And we was having a look on Giacomo, and I just saw this suit, and it was a lovely, lovely green.
And it was sort of like a brushed cotton, so it was very wintry.
So it was nice,
as well.
Yeah, it was really nice and wintry.
And warm for the day.
Nice and warm, which it very much appreciated. I thought, and I loved it instantly. So I thought, right, let's get that. And then footwear, I always wanted to wear trainers. Initially, I wanted to wear like a multicoloured thing trainers, and then Lauren said, well, if you're wearing a green suit, you should try and find green trainers. And then we found just a really nice, cool pair of green, white Adidas trainers with the green stripes on them. And they were cool. Yeah. I really like them.
No tie or bow tie.
No.
But yeah, you looked lovely.
Yeah, really, I felt
nice.
really comfortable. It was I may, if I would have found one, I might have worn a bow tie, but I didn't find one.
Your beard covers up bow ties anyway.
Yeah, beard covers it up anyway.
So you were very, very happy. So Giacomo, if you're a man of a bigger persuasion, have a look at the clothes on Giacomo. You had a lovely time. It arrived so fast,
didn't it? Fast, yeah, like the next day or the day after.
Your mum and dad kindly treated you to that as a son present. But how much was the suit together? About £100?
No, I think it was 170, the whole three.
Oh, was it? With the three-piece? So
the three-piece things, yeah.
And he looked so handsome. And pink and green go really, really nice together, particularly that way.
Yeah, so it worked out well, didn't it?
So as I said, I was in a pink dress. I'd originally bought a very simple but beautiful dress from ASOS that I'd always had my eye on, which was sort of blush pink, 70s style, quite drapey, with a belt buckle made out of the same material of it, sort of midi length. And I really, really loved it, and I'd always loved it. It had been on my sort of for years. I think it had been on, I don't remember, it's not ASOS as the brand, it's another brand. And it was £70, and it went down to £55 in the sale, and it went down to £29 in the sale. And then I thought, I'm just going to buy it, and if I wear it, then great. And when I went to buy it, it was £19, and I was like, this is going to be amazing. My wedding dress is going to have cost £19. And I loved it, and it was really nice.
It's lovely.
But There's a designer called Mary Benson. Noel Fielding wears a lot of Mary Benson stuff. It's a very celestial sort of stars and moons and things like that. And I'd always loved her designs. And I'd looked at the dresses, and they're made to measure, and they're expensive, more expensive than I would ever spend on an item of clothing, and I didn't want to spend too much on my wedding dress, but they were coming in at sort of like £600–700 to get a dress made, and I was like, that's probably going to be too much. I'm not going to do that. However, somebody I follow on Instagram, Charlotte Jacqueline, who's an influencer, I started following her because she used to live in Margate, so that's how I found her. I started following her, and she said that she was selling a few things on Depop. She is a size 16, I'm a size 16 to 18, and she had a pink Mary Benson dress on there, which had been made for her. Now, it was £100, and I was like, this is meant to be. I've wanted this dress, this is amazing. And I ummed and ahed for a while, but I knew I had to move quick because it was a really, really cheap dress. Whether or not it would fit me, because she'd said it was made to measure, and although she is a size 16, like sort of in stores, she has got very narrow arms, and the dress had been made to fit her narrow arms, whereas I'm a size 16, but I have got very big arms and legs. So I was thinking, well, that's not really going to fit. I ordered it anyway. My mum sort of saying, oh, well, there might be something we can do about it. Maybe we can insert a little panel or something like that. Anyway, when it arrived, it didn't fit because it was very tight around my arms. But by the day, because I've now got type 2 diabetes, and as a result of sort of like lifestyle changes I've had to make and medication I'm on, I've lost a small bit of weight, which meant that my arms were absolutely fine in there. So yeah, I was delighted with it. It looked amazing.
Thank you, diabetes.
Thank you, diabetes, for the gift of my arms fitting my wedding dress. Yeah, obviously there was no diets or anything from either of us to fit in our stuff. We are not those people.
No.
Yeah, so it was lovely, and I was so elated with it, and it was so nice. And it was so nice to wear a pink dress with gold. Like, I love gold so much.
Yeah, it was cool. Them
I
stars
wore
were amazing.
a pair of gold boots that I'd bought secondhand a few years ago. I already owned them. Bought them secondhand from Depop, and I had a glitter hairband around my hair that my cousin Laura, one of the school mums of Laura's daughter, makes from a company called Claude Studio. I'll link them down below. I found her through Instagram, and it was amazing, and it looked so good. And yeah, and then David had bought me a necklace. I like the company New Hoops. Actually, I've got these hoops in today. They're a mother-daughter owned company where they sell jewellery with charms you can add to it. So like you can have earrings that will add, that you can change because you can change the charms on them, etc. And they just bought out a necklace, which meant that I could wear some of the charms, and David had bought me like a little planet charm, which was really nice because it like fit in with the theme. And yeah, I think we both looked tip top.
Yeah, really lovely. Yeah.
I bought you a Tom Ford aftershave that he was very keen on.
Yeah.
And yeah,
one thing we haven't mentioned,
what?
And I don't think it's on your list,
well, you should be looking at my list,
is a cake.
Oh yeah, we will get onto that. We'll finish doing this and then we'll talk about the cake.
Ignore me.
And then hair and makeup. I did my own hair. I'd grown my hair long because I knew I wanted this headband to be the main event, and I thought I'll just do a bit of curling at the bottom, and it worked out fine. And that was really good because actually the makeup artist, it took a really long time, so I had about 15 minutes to get my dress on and do my hair, so that was fine.
It was a bit of a rush.
I used a local makeup artist, and she was amazing, and I had a trial with her, and it was great. And
yeah, she was really nice.
She really sort of understood what I wanted. I wanted like gold, and I'd bought these sort of stars that I had stuck around my eyes, which then turned into the theme. She was really excited to do them, and it was lovely. But yeah, on the day, I think time just ran away with us all, and we just didn't have all that much time.
Exactly. Yeah, I standard boy thing. I went and got my hair cut a couple of days before and a beard trim. That was it, really. Nice shower in the morning. Just making you 2 cups of tea.
Yeah, very good.
Is it really? Got changed when you?
It was very relaxed, wasn't it?
Yeah, really relaxed.
It was lovely. Cake.
Oh!
We should have mentioned the cake earlier when we were talking about the food.
We should have mentioned the cake.
So, we knew we wanted a cake. David had said he wanted a cake. I was unbothered about the cake, but David had wanted a cake.
Really wanted
and one of our friends, Laura, is featuring heavily in this video. So
yeah, what were we?
Laura's best friend's
partner. Laura and my mum,
yeah.
would we have had a wedding?
Laura's best friend's husband is an amazing cake maker, and I will link his Instagram account down below, Baker and Scribe, and he specialises in sort of like calligraphy and beautifulness. fabulous and makes these amazing like tiered cakes with all this gorgeous writing on. And as I said, we had the Nigel Slater reading, and we took a passage from that and he scribed it onto the side of our cake.
How he does it.
We wanted a brightly coloured cake, didn't we, because of the brightly themed, and we sort of like pinballed back a few options with each other, and we came up with this cake. And I sort of said to David, you have whatever flavour cake you want. And what flavour cake did you go for? So
we actually had a bit of a melange type thing, didn't we? So it was kind of like a fruit cake come sticky toffee pudding come chocolate. It was a chocolate fudge fruit cake was the bottom layer, and it was delicious. And we've got half of it frozen in the freezer. Yeah, I'm so excited to get it out. I think we might get it out at Easter. What do you think? Yeah, I think that'd be nice, because I don't think you can keep it for a year, can you? No, but Easter will be nice to get it out. Yeah, that'd be nice. And then the middle cake, which is my one, which is I've had this of Ben's before, and it was a cookies and cream. Yeah. One, and oh my god, it was so nice. And then very kindly, because I'd sort of said, oh yeah, like neither of those are really my thing, I'm not a big cake eater, he said, oh, what's your favourite cake? And I said lemon, and he did me like a little extra lemon one just to go on top. Well, I ate all of that, obviously. And yeah, it was just beautiful. And as like the experience we had with him, we had Zoom meetings with him and pinging back, and he brought it down on the train that day, and it just looked gorgeous, didn't it? It looked so nice. Yeah, he's done an amazing job. Delicious. My sister said that, like, I mean, I thought it was also delicious, but my sister said it was the best fruitcake she'd ever eaten. Yeah. And it was like this like chocolate fudge fruitcake. Like, I don't like fruitcake, but oh my god, it was just so good, incredible. Oh god, so nice. I can't wait to get it out. My sister said to slice out there. Yeah, so what I did is I frozen a big chunk of it, and my sister said, oh, you should have cut it up, and then you would have been able to take bits out. And I didn't think to do it. We could have got a bit out for this video. Oh, we could have done. We could have just sat there eating it. But yeah, the cake was amazing, and as I said, I'll link everything down below for that. Speeches. So we knew we didn't want speeches. As I said, we weren't having, I didn't have bridesmaids, David didn't have a best man, and my dad would never have done a speech, and I probably wouldn't have wanted him to do a speech. But like the only person who would have done would have been my dad. Yeah, and we just decided that we weren't going to do speeches, and in the place of speeches, we're both big fans of Taskmaster, so we decided to do a game of Taskmaster, which I'm so thrilled with. It went so well. It was good, wasn't it? So the original, so the prize, if you're not familiar with Taskmaster, it's a panel show that's on Channel 4, used to be on Dave before it was on there, where there's 5 comedians and they're all competing in these little sort of mini tasks to impress the Taskmaster, who is Greg Davis. It's scored, and then at the end of the series they win a trophy. And at the beginning of each episode they start with a prize task, and they're often told to like bring the shiniest thing, bring the heaviest thing, and we'd given everybody £1, everybody that was coming to the day, so to the ceremony. So it would have been 17 people, because that's how many it was, but me and David obviously weren't taking part. The nans weren't taking part, but my niece, who is 3, did take part, which was lovely. So we had how many people? So that would be 13 people competing, and we gave everybody £1, and we said, buy the bride and groom the best present for £1. Do not spend over £1. Well, I cannot believe the variety of stuff we got, and people would put in so much effort. It was so nice, because like it just felt so special. Everyone had put in so much effort. So we'd got things from like our friend Joe knows Munya Chihuahua, and had given him £1 to do a personalised video, which was amazing. Yeah. And even then, like, Joe done his own little build up to it. Yeah, it was so cool. David's sister had spent £1 on shares in a company, and she's going to tell us every Christmas how much our shares are worth. Yeah. We checked that day, and the shares had gone down to 55p or something. My friend Emma had made us little Christmas decorations of the outfits that we were wearing on Christmas Day. Tom and Laura had bought us pencils which had the date of our wedding on, and then they'd sketched a picture of us, which was amazing. My mum had bought us a pack of cards, because we said we always wanted a pack of cards. Yeah, David's dad had done us a list of a jar full of like date ideas. My niece had bought us a box of tissues. My sister had taken her to the pound shop and said, buy what you want for Lauren and David, and she picked us a box of tissues. And it was just so much, it was amazing. Sorry, like my other sister,
Oh yeah, that was great.
So like she bought a selection of chocolate bars, like and she worded it and she wrote us like a little statement.
Yeah,
like,
I heard a little whisper.
Yeah.
That your love was bigger than the galaxy. And that's
it was really sweet. Nice. It was really cute.
So yeah, so that was just the prize task, and then in amongst that we did other tasks, like we did draw the second tallest snowman. We gave everyone a piece of paper and everyone had to draw, and then we measured them, which was really fun. We did a taste testing
of popcorn, which was
really fun. And then the final task was that actually worked out really well.
Oh my god, like people loved it so much more than I thought they would.
It was
a tape measure.
A tape measure.
So I would hold the bit that you pull out, they would hold the end, and I would just pull out, and then when they had to wait, they had to say stop, and then I would let go, and it had to stay.
It couldn't snap.
It had to
otherwise
stay
you were disqualified.
Horizontal, or else, and it was basically the person with the longest one.
But it was such fun. It went really well, and it was just really good way, and everyone was really involved. And congratulations, Tom, on your win. Congratulations. And then in the evening, as I said, we had some extra friends join us, which was really nice. And we had a sing-along. So one of our friends, Adam, had brought his guitar along and had learnt some Christmas songs. And we made a PDF of the lyrics and sent them to everybody. And we just said, we're going to have a little sing-along. We hadn't told anyone about it because we thought people would be frightened and would think that it was a bigger thing than it was. And I think Adam was also a little bit nervous.
Adam was a bit nervous because he hadn't played it. He hadn't done Christmas songs in a while.
So we just said, right, we're going to have a little bit of a sing-along, and we were singing Feliz Navidad and Last Christmas and All I Want for Christmas Is You.
And Step Into Christmas.
Everyone was involved. Even my dad and my nan was singing. Like everyone was really into it, and we all had the lyrics on our phone, and we spent I would say 40 minutes having a good sing-song.
I'd say so. Yeah,
and people were really into it, and it was really nice, and that was just a lovely way to sort of greet the evening guests and for us all to have a good time.
To kick off the evening part. Yeah, it was lovely.
And then the music, David made a playlist. As I said, we had vinyls playing during the day, but we had a music playing that you'd made the playlist of.
And then my brother-in-law now, he bought a couple of his Bluetooth speakers that linked up, so we just had them playing.
And then the last thing for the day is we had the photographer. So we weren't going to have a photographer, but then both sets of parents who hadn't really made any requests had said, oh, it would be nice to have some actual official photos, and I am so glad that we did it. So one of our friends who does a bit of photography. We asked him if he wouldn't mind, and he kindly came along.
He took off his last
day of annual leave. Wouldn't take any payment for it. We are going to take him out for dinner. And took some photos, some group shots of us at the wedding, lovely. Which were really nice. And then during the wedding as well, which would have been the photos that you've probably been looking at while we've been talking about this. And then our friend Joe, he also had a camera, and he brought his along and took loads of photos in the evening, which was also lovely, wasn't it? Because it meant we had some photos from the evening.
And he was letting our niece take some photos as well. And
so she took some amazing photos. She was getting very into the photos.
Yeah, so she could be a photographer.
Would recommend having somebody that can take some photos of the group, because it really did mean a lot, and we sort of got some photos printed off in time for Christmas and got them framed and gave them to our parents and to our nan and to our sisters, and they were all very pleased with them. So would recommend. There we go. So that's the day.
That's the day.
Should we move on to the party? So we got married on the Monday. On the Saturday, we had a party in a local village hall.
Got married on the Monday. Tuesday to Friday, we felt like shit.
we felt really poorly. I think we were on a bit of a come down, and also we'd just been what are you looking at?
A cat.
Oh, we'd just been very cold, and my wedding dress was a square neck, so I felt like I'd have my chest out all day. So we just had terrible coughs, and just felt unwell. But yeah, so we got married on the Monday, had a party on the Saturday, and the Saturday was in a local town hall, village hall. It was the first village hall we went to, but when we went there, she was so chilled showing us around, and we knew we wanted to decorate it for Christmas. Amenable. She was just like, do whatever you want. And I thought, I don't think we're going to find anyone that's going to do this any cheaper, who's going to be more chill than this. So we booked that about 18 months before. I remember going along, and I think it was in May that we saw it, the May before.
That might have been the first thing we booked.
I think it was. I think that was the first,
and then very quickly the pizza van was...
Yeah, and as I said, we'd already decided that we wanted to have a pizza van. We invited, so we had on the actual wedding day, we had like very close family and then like extended, and then we had friends come in the evening. So at the party was like all of those people plus
more
people who'd come from abroad. So we've got friends in Ireland. We had like extended family, so my aunties and uncles and cousins, David's family as well, friends of our parents, and sort of like friends of people that we hadn't seen for a long time. And we invited work colleagues as well, and we invited 120. And on the day there was 80 there, roughly about 80.
I'd say so.
There was a train strike that weekend, which meant that a lot of people couldn't make it.
Yeah, sadly none of my work chums could come.
And
because
the
of
train
work
strike got announced the day after we confirmed with the pizza van that we wanted 100 pizzas. So there was 40 pizzas left at the end, because I don't think like some people were sharing pizzas.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, we had a pizza van come along, which was amazing. So they took all of their rubbish away with them. They parked up outside. It looked beautiful. It was all like hanging lights, and they'd done like these special pizzas.
Really well. Yeah. So I was in charge of hiring the pizza van for the evening, which is very exciting, because that's always what we wanted. So I've done a little bit of research.
We love pizza.
We love pizza. I like making my own pizza. I would love to have made my own pizza for the day, but it would have taken a bit too long.
Would have been a bit busy.
Would have been a bit busy. Yeah, so I had a look, scoured around, plenty around in the UK, and then I stumbled across one in Gravesend called the Pizza Post, and they sounded quite nice, and they looked really cool. Basically, you've got to have an Instagram account, haven't you?
Yeah. Found it through Instagram.
You've got to find it through Instagram, because then, you know, well and trusted. Lots of really lovely positive reviews, lots of cool funky pictures. As Lauren said, the van looked really cool, like just with some nice like fairy lights on it and stuff. So I got in contact with them. They were really nice to chat to, and you could choose like 4 different pizzas, which we did. So we had margarita, because that's my favourite. Then you had
and there was a goat's cheese one, and then there was a veg one, and then there was a pepperoni one.
And then there was a pepperoni one for the meaty boys and girls. And yeah, that was really
good. It was really good, because we sort of, as people were arriving, we were like, oh, you might have seen that there was a pizza van as you came in, go and order your pizza, and then you went back in 5 minutes and got it. And it was really, really nice, and it meant the first sort of hour was very relaxed as people were arriving. So we were like, hi, go and get your pizzas, go and sit down. And we just had lots of like seats dotted, like tables dotted around, and people were sort of like sitting down and eating their pizza.
And
it was really
let
nice.
me tell you,
the
that pizza was delicious. Like, I was kind of chatting to them beforehand, because they come and they've got like their own like pizza oven thing, which they warm up as they're travelling down. Is when they warm it up.
Really? I didn't know that.
And because that's to get to like
to go when they
500 degrees,
And they took everything home, like all the packaging back with them, which was amazing. So, and then we had like 40 pizzas left at the end, but every single pizza.
All of them left. Yeah.
We took 2 home and ate them the next day when we were watching the Strictly Come Dancing final. Yeah. We had a great time.
Yep.
And then we also had donuts. So we knew we'd have a cake on the Monday, so we wanted to have donuts, which we thought was a bit easier to sort of like delegate out. We got those from a local bakery, and they were amazing as well. So they're
really good.
Glazed donuts. We had some ring donuts which were glazed, and some jam donuts.
Yeah, jam donuts. Yeah, so I went and chatted with them. Really nice and cheap.
Really cheap. How much was it for the whole lot?
I think it was about
100 donuts.
Yeah, I think it was like about 90. I think it was 80 or 90 pounds.
Yeah, so which is really good. And they were all put on a donut stand that my dad had made.
Yeah, very good.
And painted gold, the same gold as down the middle of the table. And he'd also, I forgot to mention when we were talking about decorating, he'd made a frame, a golden frame with ribbon, and I'd put ribbon on it, and we had that at the party and at the wedding.
Which you would have seen in the photos.
You would have seen that in the photos, because we would have had like,
he's done very good. He's done very well with building his bits.
And we had a bar. So when we booked the, we were sort of thinking
we're going to do a BYOB.
Bring your own bottle. But then when we booked the bar, when we booked the hall, she said, oh, you can have a bar. And I was like, oh, how much extra is that going to be? And she said £10. So we were like, we'll have the bar.
Which included them providing all the cups and taking them all away.
I didn't realise, but it was all plastic.
Yeah.
And it was all single-use plastic. So that's, I was disappointed in that. But I guess if you're providing a bar for a tenner, that doesn't involve washing up glasses and doing things like that. So I didn't know that.
No.
But that was all plastic, which was a vast shame. And if there's anything I regret from the day, it's not marrying you. It's the fact that there
was... For you, so there we go. I'm a close second.
Then the decorating, we used a lot of the stuff that we'd used during the week, and we had... So David saying earlier about the tablecloth. So we bought a lot of double bed sheets from charity shops and dyed them to be like bright colours. So all of the tables were covered in those with a gold bit of wood down the middle with one of each colour. So, and we'd also spray painted a lot of like clear glass stuff that we'd bought. So like a lot of like luminous stuff was in there, and then we had lots of different colour candles. So that was really cool. Nice. And then we had a few extra Christmas trees compared to what we'd had in the day, which was really on the day, which was nice. It meant there was a lot of places for people to pose and stuff like that. Again, the music, you'd made a music. You'd made a music playlist. We didn't have a DJ. David had borrowed some lights from work, which was very, very helpful.
Yeah,
and we had
my nieces loved.
Yeah, we also borrowed her disco ball though, which was amazing.
Yeah, it's
like
cool.
a little. Is it called a disco ball? What is it? Like a little light that just. But it was just perfect for the hall. We wore the same. I was going to originally. I was going to get something a bit glitzier, but I was so happy to wear my dress. So I wore the same, and David wore the same. The only thing was that I couldn't get my makeup done because the makeup artist was already booked that day. So I did my own makeup that day. And it was fine.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Well, it was dark. And did my hair as always. And then we had a first dance. Now, we mentioned the first dance. David hated doing the first dance. Absolutely hated it, didn't you?
Did.
Considering it was a day all about us and sort of looking at us, you really didn't like it when people were looking at us doing the first dance.
No.
He didn't like it on the Monday, and I also felt a bit awkward, but I didn't know if it was because it was in like a very small marquee, and the people as we were dancing, people were literally like
people were like there.
So our first dance was to This Christmas by
Johnny Hathaway.
And we did it on the day, and you didn't enjoy it, and then I thought, well, let's do it, because I thought it would be a good opener to get people up and dancing. Not that I was that bothered with people. I've been at weddings before where people have been so stressed out about people not dancing. I was just having a lovely time catching up with people.
Yeah, me too.
So we did a first dance, and David did not enjoy it the whole time. He was like this. Faces like just trying to get through. I don't like this. I don't like this. Just trying to get through it. Not dancing in time to the music or anything. You were just not having a nice time with it, were you? So yeah.
And I've signed up to do a dancing competition at work this year.
That's going to be good, isn't it?
So I feel sorry for my partner. He's not going to be having a lovely time with me,
not
is he?
at all. So yeah. So that's probably the only thing David didn't enjoy was the first dance.
Oh yeah, sadly, yeah.
Then we couldn't have done the whole thing without family and friends helping us tidy up before, after, set up.
Oh man, it was
financially, like I said, the day, like the actual wedding day, the caterer and things like the marquee, like we wouldn't have been able to afford that. So we were very, very fortunate to have family who were chipping in for that. But yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
If we've missed anything, this video is going to be so long. If we've missed anything, or if you've got any further questions about anything, then do ask below. And we'll answer them if we can. And yeah, it's nice having a husband
and wife.
Husband and wife.
Husband and wifey for lifey.
That's very cute. So yeah, so thanks for joining us for this little chat, little long chat, and I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye.